Hello and welcome to An Old Dog in a New Conference. Today I'm going to run down last weekend's winning Big Ten teams. Starting out with Rutgers. Scarlet Knights defeated our beloved Washington Huskies 21-18. The interesting thing about that is when you look up the stats, the leading passing yardage, Will Rogers; leading rushing yardage, Jonah Coleman; leading receiving yardage, Denzel Boston. None of the Knights were there. But if you go and find their outstanding players, Kalakamakis passed for 115 yards and a TD, and Kyle Monangai, he rushed 25 times for 132 yards and a TD, which is an outstanding performance. The Dogs fought hard to hold him to that because he is an excellent running back behind a veteran offensive line. We made mistakes. We were penalized in situations, and it's our fault. Rutgers didn't do that, so Rutgers deserves the win. I still feel confident that we're a better team than we're showing. The next in the lineup is Ohio State. The Buckeyes beat the Spartans of Michigan State 38-7. It was pretty much just a straight up domination. Will Howard's 244 yards passing and a pair of TDs. Emeka Egbuka had 7 receptions, 96 yards, and a TD. Next on the list is the Oregon Ducks and the UCLA Bruins. The Bruins are having this season where they hang in there and they fight and they play tough and they lose. So I don't know how long they can keep that up, how long their morale can stay up unless they start to get some wins. But, I hope for their sake they do because, nobody wants to see a team fold. But Oregon, scored 28 points in the first half and UCLA had 10. They were starting to pull away towards the end of the first half. And then the second half, both teams' defenses shut down the offenses, and it ended up being a 34-14 win for the Ducks. Dylan Gabriel was 31 out of 41, 278 yards and 3 TDs. The Illinois Fighting Illini and the Penn State Nittany Lions faced off, which was a really interesting game because Illinois was undefeated and ranked Penn State undefeated and ranked. Penn State beat them 21-7. At halftime, it was a 7-7 game, and Penn State just kind of did what they did. They warmed down, scored a couple more touchdowns, and got the win. Luke Ottmeyer passed for 185 yards and a TD. It was not a lot of offense on either side for both those teams. The next game was the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Michigan Wolverines. This was a crazy game. Came down to an onside kick that might have given them a chance to tie it up, and there's a bunch of controversy whether they were offsides or what the rules were. Either way, Minnesota, who gave them the fight of their lives, I see Michigan as a very good, if not outstanding, defensive team. They have to get that offense going. That they're falling into that Big Ten mold of sometimes the teams just the defenses are stout and the offenses just can't get going. I wouldn't expect that to be the case from Michigan, but right now they're not blowing people off the ball offensively. The leading passer was Brosmer from Minnesota, who passed for 258 yards and a TD. Mullins was was the running back from Michigan, the 111 yards and 2 TDs. Wisconsin Badgers versus USC Trojans. The Trojans 3-1, Wisconsin 2-2 now. USC won 38-21. They were actually trailing going into the half 21-10, and then they just took over and dominated the second half and ended up winning 38-21. Miller Moss passed for 308 yards and 3 TDs. Then we have the Maryland Tarpons and the Indiana Hoosiers. The Hoosiers remain undefeated. They beat Maryland 42-28. And it was 14-7 at halftime, and it was not until the fourth quarter where Indiana kind of put them away. Their quarterback, Rourke, he passed for 359 yards and 3 TDs. Another solid win for Indiana, who is yet to be ranked, I believe, at 5-0. And the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Purdue Boilermakers. And Purdue is 1-3 and not looking great, but they did hang in there with Nebraska. It took Nebraska a half to get going. The halftime score was actually 0-0, and then Dylan Raiola and the Cornhuskers took over and pulled away and ended up winning the game 28-10. Dylan Raiola passed for 257 yards and a TD. Until next time, go Dogs.